6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So this is a new boat you're just finishing now.
Yep, this one will be ready to hit the water in a couple of weeks.
So what stage are you up to there now, Jeff?
This one?
Yeah.
This one now has to have all the fittings put back on, and the need a bulb to put on the keel, and it'll be ready to rig.
What's the advantage, you reckon, in your boat compared to other competitors' boats?
This one is a development of many designs and has the best features of those boats. The person who designed this one has had many years' experience in sailing and building the boats, and this is the culmination of all of his efforts. It's the AKA. It has tremendous downwind speed, and upwind it'll match it with the best of boats.
So definitely a very competitive boat for a keen sailor that wants to get the edge on his competitors.
This one is a very competitive boat. I just wish I was a better sailor, or I had a sailor who, much better than I am, who would sail one of these in a big competition. I think they'd do very well.
Very good. And how do the moulds work, Jeff?
Well, the mould for the AKA, it's in two halves, left and right, and sprayed with a epoxy undercoat, then laid up with the layers of glass, and when those two halves are set, tidied up, two halves are glued together, epoxy tape all the way around, then where is it? There. So the boat comes out of the mould looking like that, and then lay up a deck, cut out the deck, and then the deck will slide in to give us a complete boat. But of course before the deck goes in, we've got to put in the centerboard case and the braces and all the mountings for the deck fittings, rudder post, mast post, and pretty much that's what's involved.
It sounds like they're a very robust boat that'll last for years.
Well, it should do. There's enough layers of glass to give it good strength. And
yeah, in competition racing there's always a few bumps and knocks that'll knock any boat around, I presume.
There are a few bumps, and that's one of the things that I'm a little bit worried about with the timber boats that I build, because they show the results of an impact, whereas these ones, if they do get hit by one of the rubber bumpers, they just flex and it just bounces off. Distinct advantage of the glass boats.
Yes, you've certainly got the whole process worked out, and you're producing a beautiful boat now. It's competitive, and the boys in the club are showing that, the ones that do own your boats. We can't keep up with them anymore. They're way out in front.
Yeah, it is a very competitive boat, and as I said before, it's just a design development using the features of many other boats. A tribute to the guy who designed and developed this one.
Yeah.
And the bulb sits there. Keel comes in, and this is where you can set the correct depth for the bulb, and then the angle of attack on the bulb, and it all gets epoxied in there to get your settings right. And then I use a laser level shining through from the back, which lines up the rudder and the keel to get them vertical. This is the AKA that I purchased, and this is the one that set me on the road to getting more involved with this design. This one was built by Tim Brown, and it was the last boat that he ever built. And, when I saw it, I had to I had no choice. I had to buy it, otherwise I wasn't going to get one. Built to the highest of standards, and Tim has built many boats over the years.
Yeah, it's beautifully made.
Yeah, it's had a few bumps and bruises, this one, with the local club sailing. Just this last weekend we got a few more creases in the jib. So I guess I'll be making another one.
Yeah, the the weekend sailing takes its toll.
Yeah, club sailing, let's say at best the rules seem to be a little bit flexible in the interpretation of them. But you can just, I'm looking at it, the lines on this hull are just superb. It moves so nicely through the water.
I'll have to agree with you there. I've seen it on the water and it's very good. And it's always up there with the winning podiums.
Yeah, it's going well, doing okay certainly in the club racing, and just hoping to get involved in a few of the major regattas this year.
So you'd be pretty proud of your boat, wouldn't you?
I am. It certainly is a labour of love putting these boats together. Now it's just become it's a hobby, and certainly gives me something to do every day, which I really do enjoy getting up to come out in the shed and just potter away.
Oh, it's a wonderful hobby, there's no doubt. But like everyone that says it's a hobby, deep down they're very competitive, and they want to have a competitive boat to sail. And I think these AKA boats certainly are winning a lot of races around our area, and people are starting to take notice.
Yeah, and every time you build one, you try and come up with some way of improving the quality of the build or the finish, or changing a few things just to eke another few seconds out of each race. That's what it comes down to, though.
It does come down to a few seconds, but I've certainly watched this boat go downwind, and the way it responds to compared to a lot of boats, it picks up a lot of metres.
Yeah, I can usually count on picking up a few metres on every downwind leg.
Is that the hull design, or?
I think it's got to be the whole design. It certainly resists nose diving a little bit more than a few of the other boats that I have seen, and it just holds its course very well.
Yes, well, I can bear witness to that. I've seen it, and it's a standout. And I think a lot of the other sailors with their boats and the different types, they're all saying, what's Jeff doing with that? He's certainly jumping to the front, and that's what it's all about. I think even though we all call it a hobby, it certainly is more than that. People like to be competitive, and this certainly is a competitive boat. Well made, and latest designs, very, very good.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. The competition is what helps us improve, and we all like to just get better at what we do.
Yes. Beautifully crafted, mate. Certainly a collector's item, aren't they?
No, they're built to go in the water.
Yeah, but still, they've got the beauty of the original boats. They're really lovely.
There's no disadvantage in having a wooden boat, and in fact I think there's been a resurgence in wooden boats in the last few years, and quite a few of the designers are coming up with designs that are suitable for building in wood.
So how long does it take? How many hours do you reckon it takes to make one, Jeff?
There's probably, well, there could be up to about 100 hours goes into each timber boat. All the strips are laid on, glued individually, and depending on the glue used and how I can fasten them down to the building frames, you might only get 2 strips put on each day.
Yeah, and weight?
And weight,
they're all within the regulation for racing?
this one is just a few grams over the minimum weight, but I don't see it as a disadvantage for the competitiveness of this boat. I could probably build it a bit lighter, but no, I'm quite happy with the way that this one has turned out. So if you're looking for a high performance 1 metre boat, the AKA is certainly one worth considering. Current lead times on production is about 3 months, a bit shorter than some of the other overseas boats, which are going to have you 18 months to 2 years for delivery. So here you've got a choice of the beautiful Fiberglass AKA or one of my timber boats. All Australian made, with where possible Australian made fittings in the fins and the winches, and of course all the fittings on the boat are sails, etc. So all the highest quality gear comes on these boats.